Hey, welcome back, guys. Okay, so in here we're going to look at PHP code injection using the include function. So when you're including files, it's very possible that somebody could add their own PHP code in there. They can also do so by uploading a file or an image pretending to be an image but contains PHP code, and then via your include function, where you're including files that have been specified in the get variable, you may end up running that PHP code. And if you are able to run PHP code, your own PHP code on a server, then you can take control of it, because you can do anything pretty much. You can check the database to see what it has, how many tables, etc., etc., and what data it has. So this could be a very dangerous attack, although it's not very common. So let me give an example of what I mean. So if I have a PHP file here, let me just save this one in my folder. So here I'm going to just call this one index.php, and this is all the code I have. So what I want to do is to include a file, because it's very common for a URL to have something like this, index.php, and then we say page is equal to, and then we add a page there. Let's say some other page, maybe home.php, something like this. So what I want to do is to use the get variable. I'm going to say page is equal to, and I will use the get variable. And the get variable will be equal to page, like so. And then what I will do is include the page, like that. Okay, so here we're going to put an is set, just to make sure that we only do this when this is set, and put a question mark, of course. Copy that, put it there, and then if it's not, we're going to load in the home page, something like this, and then we include the file. So of course we should put the home page here, so I'm just going to create a new file, and then I'll just echo this is the home page. So of course I should put these in quotes. Let's save that, home.php. Okay, so if I try to run this system here and refresh, okay, so include home failed to open, no such directory exists. So let's go back and see what's going on. Home.php. Okay, so refresh. All right, so there's a syntax error on line 3. Let's make sure here. What did I do wrong? If it's set get page. Okay, so what is the complaint about? Unexpected end of file. Unexpected end of file usually means the error could be in the file that we're including here, which is exactly right. Okay, there we go. That was the error there. Refresh. Okay, so we get, this is the home page. So this is pretty straightforward stuff. I'm loading index.php, but then I'm importing home.php. All right. Now the thing is, using this system here, because I'm just loading the page here without even trying to figure out whether this data is valid or not, I'm just including it there. This becomes a problem, because I could expose other files, because there's nothing stopping someone from putting page is equal to, because this is index.php at the end, and then I can say page is equal to. Of course it won't find the page I'm looking for, but in case if I said home.php, it will work. This is the home page. But then I can use this, a hacker can use this to browse other things on your page. For example, I can use that to go a directory upward, because remember that if you type // like so, that's one drive, one folder up, another folder up, another folder up, just like that. So there's if you go 2 folders up or so, what a hacker can actually do is they can put hundreds of these just like this. Even though they don't know really what your folder structure is, they can put many of these, because what will happen is, for as long as they reach the top level of the file system, it's going to stop there. And once they reach the top level, they can find a specific folder that they are looking for. So for example, there's a log file, I can say inside Apache, I think it's Apache, and then it's logs, and then it's error.log like this. So depending on the system, if the file structure is well known, because for example many people use Apache, so they understand how Apache works, so they can make a wild guess until they find the right combination of files. So if I do this, you see what happens now is I load in the error log here. So all I need to do is make your program crash in a way, or cause an error on your program. Even though I don't see an error on the screen, it's going to log that error in this log file. And all I need to do is find it using that include, and then I can read all the errors that have ever occurred on your system. And this will give me file structure information that I really need, and other things as well, where your function files are, etc., etc. So you can see how dangerous this can be. Now the worst part about this include is that if, for example, you, let me remove this, okay, if for example you have a file uploading system, so you're uploading files and images, okay, let me do this though. Before we go any further, let me create a new file. I'm going to call this one test.txt. So keep note that I am saving this as a text file, so it's .txt like that. It's not a PHP file, right? And then in here I'm just going to add some PHP, and I'll say PHP Info like so. We all know what PHP Info does. It shows the information about PHP. So if you were to run this function at any time, a hacker were to run this function, this could be very devastating, because it will give out all the information about the version of PHP you're running, the type of server, etc., etc., and so on, and the file structure as well. So this is text.txt, right? It's not a PHP file, but if I type test.txt in there and hit enter, okay, so not found. What did I name it? Text, not test. So text.txt. Okay. Oh, wait a minute, I didn't follow the right procedure. Here I'm just reading directly from the file. But what I'm supposed to do is say index.php question mark page is equal to test.txt. Okay, so I think I got the page wrong. Why do I keep having so many typos? Okay, there we go. So now, as you can see, this PHP code has actually run, even though this is a text document, right? It's .txt here. It's not really a PHP file. Now, simply because I've used include is going to run PHP through whatever it is that you are including. It will assume this is PHP content. So even a text file can run some PHP. Now, this can be very deadly for one reason, and that is users are allowed to upload images. Now, it's very possible for someone to give you an image that has hidden information in there. So let me give you an example of that. So I have an image here which I will put in this folder, this same folder. There we go. So it's just a simple image. I'm just going to name it image.jpg like that. So it's just an ordinary image like that. So what I want to do is hide some text in there, we can imagine this is an image because it's a valid image. So if I tried to upload this as my profile photo, it's going to load just fine as a profile photo. But then because I can actually access my profile photo, I can use it in that include if I have a hidden message inside it. So how do I put a hidden message here? Let me use Notepad++ here for a second. I'm only using this because I'm not really sure how to do this using how to get Sublime Text to show an ASCII version of the image like in this format. So as you can see, this is gibberish because of course it's an image, it's not some text. But at the very end here, or is this very end of the message, I can add some PHP tags here, PHP, and then just say PHP Info like that, and then close that tag. Or I can do something like exec, so I can say shell exec and then put dir in there as the command to show me all the directories in here. So let me save this image and then let me come back to my thing here. So I will remove this for a second. Okay, so we are back to normal. But then when I come back here, I have an image here and it shows just like a normal image, no problem. But let's see what happens if I try to add it as part of the parameter here. I'll say page is equal to image.jpg. Now, if we scroll down here, I think it's kind of hard to see. Maybe there's no directory. Let me try a different command. I think that one is a bit hard to see. Maybe I actually made a mistake here. Shell exec dir. Anyway, for now, let me use the PHP info. It's much easier to see what's going on. So I've changed my command. I've put PHP info inside an image here. So let me save that image. So if I come back here and try to open, it still looks like a normal image. But let's go to the browser again. And this time I want to refresh. So it's page is equal to image.jpg. So keep in mind this is a JPEG. And if I refresh now, it's showing me the JPEG. But if I go down here, you see there's this PHP information, which means it actually ran the PHP code, even though this is an image that I'm including. This is why this include or require works the same way. So include or require can be dangerous if you don't take care of the information that you are receiving. So how exactly do we prohibit such a thing? So for starters, do not leave the file extension to the URL. So let me remove this and let's put the file extension here. We concatenate the file extension after the fact. That way we only get a name here and make sure that always we are running a PHP file. But that isn't foolproof either, because if when uploading, let's say you have a place for users to upload their profile photos, they could put a PHP file there if you're not checking to confirm that this is really an image. Okay, so that's one way to do it, to change that. So let's come back here and see what happens. So if I do this now, it's going to tell me it can't find the file because on top of JPEG, it's adding .php at the end. So this messes up the whole system. So that's one way to fight it, but that's not enough. The second way, when you are loading JPEGs or images, make sure you crop them. I have tutorials on my channel about cropping images, how to crop images. There are plenty of them. You can just search for them. Because every time you crop an image, it's no longer going to contain this information because the information is changed in the process of resizing the image. All the pixels are changed one by one, which means even this data is going to be altered. It won't be the same. So that can help as well. So let me close this. And then the final way to do it is to check for files to make sure that we are only reading files that are contained in our current folder. So to do that, we must collect all the files that exist right now. So I can just say files is equal to, we're going to use the globe function here, and then we'll select a folder, and then we'll choose, I'm going to concatenate to the folder, a dot star. We're going to choose the type of files we want. So in our case, we want PHP files. So PHP, like so. Okay, great. So now, before I do the require, let me just print readable files, like so. So I expect to see an array of all the files in a particular folder. So I haven't specified what folder is here, so I'm going to get an error. So folder is equal to the current folder, like that. Maybe I will put a dot there at the beginning. I don't know if that will work as well. So refresh. So it's an empty array, nothing found. Let me remove the dot, like so. Let's try again. Okay, so I think I may have swapped these. It should start with star and then dot PHP. Sorry, my bad there. Still nothing. Let's try a dot there. Okay, there we go. So the current directory contains home.php, index.php, but you see there's that dot slash there as well. So all we want from here is to make sure that the array contains the file that we want. Okay, so we're going to say, before we even put this page here, we're going to copy this and say if in array, like that. The needle is what we are looking for. So I'm looking for the page, but keep in mind that it should have that dot at the beginning. So say dot slash and then concatenate that. And then what array are we looking at it from? From the files array, like so. Okay. And then let me do this. Let me do that. So what we're doing here is this. We are specifying a folder, which is the current folder. Now, if you have another folder that you have files in, maybe it's called includes, you can do that. You can say includes, but you don't need this. You may do it like so. Okay, like includes, that's the folder. But here we're looking at the current folder, so I'll leave it like that for now. I don't know if it works if I just remove this. Let me test that before I continue. Print readable files, like this. So you can always test things out before you proceed. So let's see what I get when I do this. Okay, so it works even like that, so which is good. So if it's the current folder, just leave it like that. That's much better. And then give it the folder, and then do that. I want PHP files, and then let me remove this. So now we can check if the page that the user has supplied actually exists inside the files. So the only thing we need to add is the .php because we are looking for PHP files. So I'll add that .php there, like so. Okay, so we are looking for what was given .php. Does it exist inside files? If it does, then require it. Else, you say could not find file, like so. This way you are sure that the file being opened, first of all, exists inside this folder. So let's see home, like this. This is the home page. So the home page works, but if I try image.jpg, it doesn't work. Okay, so that's the second way to try and fix this issue. So if there are special characters in here, you might try to remove them, but this is a foolproof way to make sure that any file that is being included actually exists in the folder that you want. Now, it's also a good idea, if you have a very limited list of files that you expect, to create an array like this one right here. This array gets the files that exist on the system, but you can still add to it. There's nothing stopping you from adding to it. By doing that, you say that, and then you add all the files that you're expecting. Maybe it's john.php, you add that. So you can just keep adding files, and then you ask if they exist in the array. That's when you can allow them. That way you are doing what is called whitelisting and not blacklisting. You are selecting what you want to see as opposed to banning certain things. So this is more secure because no one can put in a different file that you didn't want to put there for as long as it doesn't exist in that array. So this is how you can secure yourself when it comes to including files. So let's recap a little bit. When you're including files, when you're using the require, it runs PHP code. So be aware of that. Keep that in mind. Even though it's a text document you are including or a JSON file, it doesn't really matter. It will run it thinking there's PHP in there. So be careful with that. A second piece of advice I would say is, if you're not expecting PHP code inside the file you're loading, then just use file get contents instead. So you can just echo file get contents like that and say get contents like so instead. So let's try that out. So it couldn't find the file. Let me go back to home. So as you can see, the page is now empty and the page we are loading is home.php. It only has PHP. So if I decide to remove or to close that PHP, and this is some plain text like so. So I have plain text and I have PHP here. And if I come back here now and refresh, I do see the plain text, but I don't see the PHP there. It doesn't echo that PHP. So it could be a way, if you don't want to process any PHP in the particular file, the PHP is not important, but otherwise you may want to use include. In that case, just put these features in there to guard against it, against any type of possible hacking. Alright, so I hope you've learned one or two things in this video, and I'll see you in the next one.